Hello, and first Chelsea and the Cup final. And the doubts about the fitness of Alan Hudson, Chelsea's brilliant 18-year-old midfield player. Doubts expressed in this morning's newspapers. But the big match goes stronger. We believe that Alan Hudson is definitely out of the final at Wembley against Leeds next week. They took the plaster off Alan's injured ankle last night, and it was still swollen. Now, he's got to stay on crutches until Wednesday. He's been told he must not put his foot on the ground before Thursday. And on Wembley's heavy, exhausting pitch, we say it's a risk that Chelsea will not take. But no doubt our studio guest today, Dave Sexton, the Chelsea manager, will have something to say about that a little later in the programme. Also today, one of the greatest goals of the season by Eddie Gray of Leeds, Chelsea's opponents next week. Don Revie says that it's one of the 3 greatest goals that he's ever seen. Certainly it would do credit to a Pele or a Puskás, and it's one not to be missed. Action 2 from Chelsea against Tottenham.
So much weight off him in midfield, and here is Martin Peters. Gilzean, good work by Tottenham. Gilzean with a shot, and a beautiful save by Bonetti.
Leeds, the other finalists, against Burnley.
Meant for Johannesson, and here's Gray, and a cool save by Miller. Had to have 2 attempts at that.
And Blackpool against Queen's Park Rangers.
Our Rangers, Leach, clear through. Well stopped by Johnson. Didn't know much about it. He did well to get his body in the way of that.
Also this week, our Golden Goals panel has been meeting to decide the order of merit for our 1970 competition, and there's been a fair bit of arguing there between Martin Peters of Tottenham, Johnny Haynes of Fulham, and of course our own Jimmy Hill. But now let's make a start with some action, and for that we go down to Stamford Bridge yesterday. Chelsea against Tottenham, a match that catches Chelsea with one eye on next week and Spurs with both fixed on building for next season. For Chelsea, there's been an uncomfortable run of injuries. Apart from Hudson, Harrison and Hutchinson are also missing from this team. But Chelsea are renowned for their reserves. And one who comes in today after a season of injury is Alan Birchinall, a big, strong striker. He, Hinton and Baldwin will all be looking for a chance to force their way into the Wembley team. As for the Spurs, their recent form has been promising, and their team shows Kinnear and Knowles again as a full-back partnership, and a lot of strength in midfield. Here, of course, a lot of it is down to their new star Martin Peters. He should work well with Mullery and Perryman. Now referee Kevin Howley is ready for the kick-off.
So Kevin Howley gets the game away. Spurs all in white kicking off, defending the goal to our right. Chelsea just this week away from Wembley, anxious no doubt to make a good impression, to keep their morale high, but doubly anxious not to get anyone injured. Here's Osgood, 28 goals this season, to Cook, and Birchinall's got into the middle, but Philip Beale back in the Tottenham side, finding Joe Kinnear. Spurs, who've had such a patchy season but a very good record against London clubs. They've been away to 3 London First Division clubs. They've won them all. 2-0 at Crystal Palace, 1-0 at West Ham, 3-2 at Arsenal, and no doubt very anxious to make it number 4 this afternoon. John Hollins now to David Webb. Chelsea all in blue. Baldwin and Houseman going at tackle from Mullery, taking it away from Houseman. So it's Gilzean and Dempsey covering at the back for Chelsea. Hollins, Chelsea's player of the year. But Peters beating him and finding Mullery. Hinton a little lucky to get that return pass there from Hollins, but now Knowles to Mullery. The teams drew 1-1 at White Hart Lane earlier this season. Gilzean losing it to skipper for the day with Ronnie Harris injured, Eddie McCready. Houseman with an unfamiliar number 8 on his back. Gilzean, Kinnear, Beale, and a throw to Tottenham. Alan Mullery to take it. And Mullery again. Houseman beating Perryman beautifully there. Good run there by Houseman. But the pitch has taken a lot of water in the last 24 hours, and that really skidded far too far ahead of Osgood. Here's Pat Jennings. McCready. And now Mullery. to the Chelsea goalkeeper, Peter Bonetti. Webb to Beale. And Mullery finding Chivers. What a difference the arrival of Peters must have made to Mullery, taking so much weight off him in midfield. And here is Martin Peters. Gilzean, good work by Tottenham. Gilzean with a shot and a beautiful save by Bonetti from Alan Gilzean. Curling just inside that post, and Bonetti was down on it like a flash. Peter Bonetti, who made his first appearance for Chelsea 10 years ago this weekend. And what a glorious 10 years it's been for Peter. But a corner then to Tottenham, and Alan Mullery to take it. And Mike England has gone roaming to the edge of that Chelsea penalty area. This will go towards England, getting up well with a header, and Bonetti. Peter Houseman to David Webb, who in fact scored at White Hart Lane in that 1-1 draw. Webb, the fullback. Throw now to Chelsea, and in fact it's David Webb to take it. Johnny Hollins with a throw for Chelsea. Tommy Baldwin to Birchinall. And Kinnear and Knowles, or rather Jennings, and it's Jennings who gathers it. Beale. Peters trying to spray it wide there towards Gilzean. But McCreaney, Birchinall well up, Osgood well there, Birchinall again. And so many Spurs players are back, but now Baldwin with a shot, and a goal by Tommy Baldwin! Just on 5 minutes gone. Some beautiful work in the air by Osgood, and Birchinall, who is such a fine header of the ball, and Baldwin tucking it home. Only his 6th goal of the season, Tommy Baldwin, coming after just 5 minutes. Now Morgan to Mullery, a swift 1-2 there to try and get Chivers a little bit of space, but now it's McCready. And I wouldn't mind betting that Chelsea would swap a goal after 5 minutes this afternoon for one after 5 minutes next week at Wembley. But a very good start for Chelsea. Mullery looking for Morgan. Morgan's getting inside Webb, but Baldwin right back to tidy up and to find his goalkeeper, Peter Bonetti. Free kick given against Birchinall for backing into England. Morgan, Gilzean, Houseman. Interesting to see Houseman playing so deep for Chelsea. One normally expects to see him so much along the wings. And a throw given to Tottenham, and Chivers to take it. Gilzean, Mullery, with the sun coming out again. Perryman, Mullery, and now Gilzean. A lot of Chelsea players back. In fact, only Birchinall is forward, and now Birchinall's coming back as well, so there's so little room for Tottenham. But Gilzean trying to find Peters, and now Peters through, and Dempsey doing probably the right thing. He could be sure of giving away the corner, but he couldn't be sure that Bonetti would get there before Peters, who was darting through. And so it's a corner to Tottenham. Again, England has gone up, and Roger Morgan to take it. Perryman, in fact, and Perryman again, and England and Peters right in there. Baldwin, Hinton, and Knowles, but now it's Cook with good control. Still Cook. Birchinall. Houseman. Osgood. Beautiful understanding again by Chelsea. Cook to Webb. Peters in very hard, and Baldwin going down, but now it's Houseman again, this time to Hollins. Chance for him to float a long one, and Birchinall's in the middle looking for it. And here is Birchinall, on the turn and straight into the arms of Jennings. That was a good shot there by Birchinall as he was losing his balance. Kinnear to Gilzean. Now Hinton. Nice little flick there for Cook. And now Hollins. And a good piece of covering there by Steve Perryman. That really was a good piece of defence by Perryman, only 17 years old, but what a future this fella's got. But it's Hollins who is capable of quite a long throw with the throw for Chelsea. And Peters getting ahead to it. Hollins driving in, Peters well there, challenged by Birchinall, now Hollins again. And good work there by Jennings to push it out. The fact that he got a hand to it was good, but it almost was at the feet of Webb. McCready, flick on by Osgood, and a flick away by Chivers. Roger Morgan. Houseman steaming back, Hollins you see steaming back as well. Dempsey there watching closely. And Peters up in support. McCready, but straight to Perryman. For his skipper Mullery. Perryman again. Taking on Webb, and Webb sticking out the foot at precisely the right moment. So it's Beale and Bonetti with that ball bouncing awkwardly just a foot or so in front of him on that skidding surface. From Beale. Osgood, with Birchinall going on ahead of him, Houseman streaking through the middle, Cook taking over. Hollins with McCready. Beating Mullery so well there, McCready. Hard and low, and not coming through to a blue shirt. To Cyril Knowles. Morgan played nicely for Gilzean. Mullery with Kinnear outside him. Still Joe Kinnear, and a free kick to Tottenham. England on the far side of the penalty area. Peters and Hinton going in. Hinton to give away the corner to Tottenham. One of his strong band of Chelsea reserves, Hinton, and Birchinall number 10 is another one, of course. No First Division side really can claim to have a stronger first team pool than Chelsea have got. But here's Mullery with the corner for Spurs. Aimed towards England. Hollins to nod it away, using all those neck muscles. And a throw to Tottenham. Cyril Knowles. Beale. And Hinton losing it out to Peters. Still Peters. Took a couple of challenges there, Mullery. Chivers to take the throw. And a good long one there, in fact, by Chivers. Perryman. Morgan. Still Morgan. And he couldn't quite turn on it as he drew his foot back, so Cook was in to take it away. Morgan again. This time to Knowles. Chivers aiming to get underneath it, and so too is Dempsey, falling now for Peters. And now Houseman to Birchinall. Peters and Mallory doing a lot of good work for Tottenham on the edge of that Chelsea penalty area now. Cook, Hollins and Hinton. Peters trying a 1-2 there, which almost came off. Hollins spotting it, and this time Hollins giving away the corner. And certainly Spurs are putting a lot of pressure on Chelsea now. Mallory and Peters doing a lot of good work. Perryman working all the way, and Gilzean with those flicks of his, often threatening to open up the way. Perryman with the corner. Gilzean with under those flicks, and McCready in two minds as to whether belt it clear or let it go. Decides to let it go, and it's a goal kick then to Chelsea. Eddie McCready, the skipper, in place of Ron Harris, who has this troublesome hamstring. Mike England to Peters. Chivers. Knowles. Peters again. They've made no ground, Spurs. All they've done is find 5 or 6 extra Chelsea defenders are back. But here's Mallory. Gilzean, a nice little flick to Morgan. Can he turn it across? They really should have done more with that one, Tottenham. And now it's Birchinall. Just Birchinall and Osgood up. Hollins coming through fast. Birchinall, in fact, falling very dramatically after he'd been checked by England. But it's a free kick to Chelsea. And it's going to be Hollins to take it. And for this one, both Webb and Dempsey have come right forward. Hollins saying that Perryman's not 10 yards away. The referee agreeing, and Perryman's got to go back a yard. Hollins then. Dempsey getting ahead to it. Birchinall hoping to turn it. He's a good, strong running player, Birchinall, and always very dangerous, but he's really had a most disappointing season with injuries. It was only 5 weeks ago that he had 12 stitches in a leg wound against Newcastle. Martin Peters. I can't think why this first half has dragged into nearly 3 minutes of injury time, because there hasn't been any injury time. Well, there haven't been any injuries, but there in fact goes the whistle for half-time. And a good first half filled with good attacking football and fairly adventurous football too. Tommy Baldwin, number 7, with that goal for Chelsea. There he is, after only 5 minutes play, putting them ahead. Still to come on the big match programme, highlights of the second division game between Blackpool and Queen's Park Rangers, and the final 6 in our Golden Goals competition. The half-time score at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea 1, Spurs 0. More soccer action for you in just a couple of minutes. So Chelsea will be hoping to keep this lead in the second half as they get us underway again, and of course steer clear of injury with Wembley so much in their minds. England finding Peters, who had such a fine first half. He really does seem to be blossoming now with Mallory in support and Perryman as well. Spurs looking very strong in midfield, coming forward, and here's Chivers to Peters. But a poor one by Peters, who's getting a fair bit of stick from Knowles. I think Peters expected Knowles to gallop after that one, but it's a goal kick then to Chelsea. He's obviously had a tremendous influence already, Peters, on this Tottenham side. Peter Bonetti. Osgood trying to set Burchinal away. Baldwin and Houseman breaking superbly. Peter Houseman. Oh, and he missed it! He missed it, and although tremendous credit there for Jennings, who came out very swiftly indeed to challenge, to make his job more difficult. Burchinal, but it's Mullery. Gilzine, another little flick, this time for Kinnear, but Cook finding McCready, and McCready feeding a poor one there towards Cook, and so it's Philip Beale now for Tottenham. To Knowles, Chivers, to Peters, and a good shot there by Peters, a nice little flick on by Gilzine. But Peters hitting it straight at Bonetti. Looks like he took a bit of a knock as well. Peter Osgood. And the throw given to Tottenham. Gilzine. To Peters. Mullery. Spurs with fresh heart after that shot by Peters. Perryman. The game really has gone off the boil a little bit after that first half, though. Morgan just keeping it in. And now Knowles. Chivers to Peters, a nice little flick there for Knowles. Mullery trying to go wide on the right. But Webb, the winner there, finding Tommy Baldwin. Hollins. Played almost beautifully there, but equally well stopped by Philip Beale. Peters to Chivers. Peters going on. Baldwin. Mullery. Ball that almost found Gilzine, but Dempsey was there first. Now it's Peters to Mullery again. I'm sure Dave Sexton there in his crow's nest on the left, Dave Sexton, would dearly love to see another Chelsea goal to put him out of his agony. And the linesman's flag was up. Every Chelsea player had gone forward, and poor Alan Burchinal finding himself offside when he's only some 5 yards inside the Tottenham half. All right, give or take a yard, perhaps 7 yards then. Mike England. Oh, Mullery. Oh, and flicked away brilliantly at the very last by Hinton. There was a brave little break by Mullery, almost catching everybody out, but that was a superb piece of defensive covering, though, by Marvin Hinton. There's Hinton. What a good reserve he is. Mullery with a long and a deep corner. England getting up to put it back in again. Gilzine looking to get up again, and McCready to belt it away to Burchinal. To Cook. Going past both Perryman and Kinnear. Cook away. Burchinal outside him. Aimed beautifully, paced beautifully for Burchinal, with a shot across the goal, which neither Houseman nor Hollins could possibly hope to get. But a good break by Chelsea nonetheless. Beautiful pass from Cook, measured to the inch for Burchinal. To Mullery. To Cyril Knowles. Again Gilzine calling for a high one at the far post, and that's going towards him. Peters trying to get under it as well, and did well to get his head to it. Charlie Cook to Marvin Hinton. Oh, let that show just a little too much of that to Alan Mullery. Now it's Chivers with a shot just past the post. Into that side netting from Chivers. Chelsea defence well back on its heels there. They're not ready for that very swift counter-attack. And perhaps Chelsea just a little lucky to survive. There's Bonetti from behind his goal. Morgan. Spurs coming into it much more now and also looking much more dangerous. And here's the chance. Gilzean, but offside is given. Offside given against Alan Gilzean. And so it's no goal. Peters to Morgan. Spurs have had so much of this game, but that's only in the last few minutes that they've begun to look really dangerous, and there's Morgan. Just a little too high. Well, if Spurs are going to do anything, they've got to do it quickly now, with under 10 minutes left. Webb, and now Peters. Chivers to Peters with a long shot, and almost over the line. Was it over the line or wasn't it? No, says the referee. But that really was touch and go. Bonetti unfortunately shielding the ball from our cameras with his body, but the linesman was directly in line. England to Kinnear. And now Gilzean to Chivers. Peters well up as well. Still Chivers, but so many blue shirts are now back. Here's Perryman. Morgan, Peters, Chivers, so tight, little room, and Bonetti again getting behind it. And a Chelsea player down on the deck in a good deal of pain, and Osgood nodding it into touch. From that view, it's hard to say who it is. But when the number shows, you can see it's Eddie McCready. Well, that must be a relief for Chelsea fans to see that McCready is all right again. McCready has now tucked that medallion inside his shirt. I'm sure the referee would have asked him to have done in any case, because it could be some sort of danger for men when you're going high for a ball. And now Knowles. A long and a high one. Gilzean to try and get underneath it, and these really must be the last attempts now for Tottenham to pull its goal back. So we're in injury time already. Peters, Perryman, and the whistle has gone before anyone could do anything about it, and so it's a victory for Chelsea by a goal to nil, scored so early in the game by Tommy Baldwin. Spurs having put on so much pressure in that second half. So the final score at Stamford Bridge is Chelsea 1, Spurs 0.
So a victory then for Chelsea to take with them to Wembley next Saturday. I must say that the players do seem to be pretty well geared for Wembley. They brought out this brochure, for one thing, which contains some very good pictures of all the team. And I noticed too that Dave Sexton today is wearing the Chelsea Wembley tie, with Dave, of course, Jimmy Hill.
Also, I might say, wearing the Chelsea Wembley tie, which cost me 15 and 6 yesterday. I didn't get away with that when I got to the ground. David, first of all, straight in about Alan Hudson. Brian has said that he doesn't think he'll play, quite definitely. I agree with him. What's your view?
Well, Alan had the plaster off yesterday afternoon, and his ankle was still swollen. We were hoping that the swelling would have gone down, but it is still swollen, so he's got to stay on crutches until Wednesday, and we hope to review the position there. It isn't a week yet since he did it. You see, that's the trouble.
Well, I know you can't write him off as a manager, but obviously you couldn't do that. But on the other hand, I must say it would be a miracle if Alan Hudson plays at Wembley.
Well, he's a young chap. He's only 18, young blood and young blood.
If he were 4, I still reckon he's not going to play next week. What about Ronnie Harris?
Ronnie's doing a lot better. He's started training. He's been doing light training and exercises. And the position with Ronnie is that he'll have an injection on Wednesday if he hasn't made the progress that we would like him to have made.
I must say also it's bad news obviously for Chelsea, but I also don't fancy his chance from what I've seen. But that's only my guess.
Well, they're both very resilient characters, you know. They've both got chances still.
David, would you explain what the problem that will face you is if they don't play in terms of players?
Well, there's a number of things that I could do. What I'm determined to do really is to see that the fellas that have got us through so far in the Cup will do duty again at Wembley.
And who are those? That's Tommy
Well, we've
Baldwin?
used 13 players
Yeah.
so far.
That's yesterday's team,
Yes.
plus
the
2 injured players. Oh, plus
yes.
Ian Hutchinson, that's 14.
Yeah. Well, it's 13 actually. Somebody must have come in.
Alan Birchnell.
Yes.
Alan
that's
Birchnell has come
yes.
in, yeah.
So as far as possible, we'll use those 13 players. And the permutations are that Alan Birchnell really is standing by for Ian Hutchinson.
Yes, who will probably be fit. I mean, that's the good news. You're expecting him to be there.
Yes, he's got a
doubt.
bruised hip, so he's no trouble.
You
with
can always play
mobility.
with bruises.
Yes, but Alan, who I thought tried very hard yesterday and played well,
Yeah.
considering he's been there for such a long while.
Yeah. Marvin Hinton will replace Ron Harris, definitely, if he's not fit.
Yes.
And Tommy Baldwin is going in for Alan Hudson if he's not fit. Or you'll do a
Yes,
switch.
well, let's
then.
switch round. Tommy will move to the wing, and Peter Houseman will come into inside forward for Alan, and Charlie will go to the left wing.
Yeah. Well, in fact, Tommy Baldwin was in great form yesterday, and he scored a beautiful goal. We're finishing the golden goals today. It was a pity he wasn't early enough with it, but it really was a first-class goal, wasn't it?
It was. He took it very well. He's brilliant round the box, Tom.
Yeah. It started with this combination, more like head tennis, of Birchnell up the middle there and Ozzy. Ozzy, here's the slow motion now. The ball, Ozzy starts it off by flicking the ball up in the air as the cross comes over. Here we are back in defence. The ball's going to be played up. And this is where Ozzy says, let's have the ball up in the air. And the old double spearhead there's Alan Birchnell, who keeps it in the air. Ozzy gets it again. Here's the head tennis going on. There's another lovely header, a guided header. But here Philip Beale just gets in and gets his head to it, but it doesn't do any good because it drops to Tommy Baldwin. And there he is, he makes no mistake, he sets himself, and what a terrific volley that was. You notice that Pat Jennings had not moved until the ball had gone past him, which gives you an impression of its speed. Well, there it was. It only took 1 goal to beat Tottenham yesterday, but I must say in the second half they came back very strongly and might have got a draw out of it.
Yes, I think they're unfortunate to lose both points, particularly on their second half display.
What about Chelsea's performance? Would you say they had a touch of Wembley-itis yesterday?
Well, I think we played very well in the first half, but we went back into our shell a bit in the second half. This is something that we used to do in the past, and the reason why we've done so well this year is we've gone flat out, and once we've gone in front, we've tried to score more and more goals.
Did that worry you yesterday?
Well, it would have done if it hadn't have been Wembley next week, and probably it's quite understandable, really.
You're a hard manager, but a forgiving one.
Well,
an understanding one. Well, David, I'm sure that all big match viewers who London hasn't had very much success in recent years would join with me in saying all the very best of luck for next week. Before we actually pass that on to you, are you still as confident with all your injury problems?
Yes, I'm very confident that the boys that have seen us through so far will get over the last hurdle.
And with that joyous message from you, David, thank you very much indeed, and the very best of luck.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes, indeed. Chelsea for the Cup next week. Our next action on the big match today takes us into the second division, up to Bloomfield Road for Blackpool, who are still very much in the running to make a challenge to get into the first division again, against Queen's Park Rangers, who seem to have lost their chance. Rangers are in the hoop shirts. Commentator Gerald Sinstadt, pictures from Granada Television.
3 men lined up at the back of the box. Murray, Craven and Pickering. McPhee lurking just outside. And Pickering coming through to try and meet it. Couldn't get up above Mobley though. Armfield. Mobley again. Leach, Marsh. Bridges, well cut out by Armfield. Suddick. Murray, very quick to see that half chance. Not a bad effort, kept it down well. Now Rangers, Leach, clear through, well stopped by Johnson, didn't know much about it, he did well to get his body in the way of that. Suddick. Mobley puts it out of play. Suddick. Pickering nodding it down, and there it is, England! "21 minutes gone. John Craven, who had 3 chances in the first 10 minutes that he wasn't able to make anything of, eventually puts Blackpool 1-0 in front. Venables.
So something for Rangers to fight for in that second half.
Venables. Craven. Good strong running by Craven. He's got Suddick inside him and Hutchison. Left it for each other again. If Blackpool do win promotion, they'll have to be much more urgent about looking for their chances. They certainly won't find as many in Division 1. Ferguson for Queen's Park Rangers. And there it is! Headed in by Leach, or is it offside? Yes, it's been given, I think. Yes, Leach's goal.
And that's how it finished, 1-1. Mick Leach scoring the Queen's Park Rangers goal so close to the end. Leach I've always thought to be one of the best headers of the ball, I think probably in the second division. And it's good to see him coming right back into form for the Rangers. Now something else though for Chelsea fans, it's a look at the latest performance of Leeds United, the team they meet at Wembley next Saturday. Leeds against Burnley, and in this game, of course, this incredible goal by Eddie Gray that Don Revie describes as the 3rd best that he's ever seen. Leeds, of course, are in white. Pictures from Yorkshire Television, commentator Keith Macklin.
Peter Lorimer, Terry Yarls going out the outside. This is Chris Galvin, Eddie Gray. Terry Yorath managing to get it back to Lorimer. Paul Madeley. Chris Galvin out on the left is Hibbett. Galvin holding it at the moment. Bates trying to get up there. Gray picking it up in midfield. And a good one. It's there! What an incredible goal! What an incredibly judged goal by Eddie Gray! He saw that Peter Mellor, England under-23 international, was about 10 yards out of his goal, and from 35 yards flighted the ball over the top of him. Sammy Todd now. Mick Doherty unable to control it. Mick Doherty, son of Tommy. Probert. Casper. Madeley and Peterson clearing there. Sammy Todd. Bellamy. Todd. Madeley going in again. Doherty. McDoherty. And a corner. This is for Probert. Oh, an own goal! And it's John Faulkner, I think. It's poor John Faulkner who stuck a leg out there and in his first Football League game has put through his own goal.
Now we go into the second half and look at this Eddie Gray goal that is really quite incredible.
Quickly taken free kick to Eddie Gray. Lorimer. Galvin. Bates. Gray. Good ball meant for Johannesson, and here's Gray, and a cool save by Miller. He had to have 2 attempts at that. Gray still up there. Eddie Gray. Oh, good footwork by Gray, still going. Oh, what a lovely goal, what a masterly goal by Eddie Gray. A superb bit of football. He beat 3 men.
And that, in fact, won the match for Leeds United by 2-1. There was a 3-minute standing ovation for Eddie Gray after he'd scored that goal. I think Ellen Road had never seen anything quite like it before. And I can tell you in our studio today that Dave Sexton was watching it pretty closely as well. It's certainly a goal that was well worth looking at again in slow motion. So that's what we'll do now. The really marvellous skills of Eddie Gray. Skills, I suppose, that you could almost put down to the likes of Pele or to the likes of Puskás as well. It is a marvellous goal. The words this time come from Jimmy Hill.
Well, in fact, mention of Puskás, who became famous through one drawback feint. You'll see Eddie Gray use this skill, drawing the ball back with the sole of his foot and beating a man after it. And he used it 2 or 3 times here to fashion this beautiful goal. There it is again. Acceleration off the mark with his left foot. And he's run himself into a position where he can attack the goal again. But no one would dream at that point that he's going to take more men on. The obvious thing to do would be to cross it. And that's how he catches the defence. There's one feint where they think he's going to cross it. And here's the drawback again, probably the best one of the lot. He moves it 6 inches back and 6 inches forward to get by that man. And before the others can get at him, there's another little feint there. And with his right foot, the ball speeds into the net, giving the goalkeeper no chance whatsoever. A superb goal.
And Dave Sexton's comment, we've got players who can do that as well. But now it's our 1970 Golden Goals competition, the final order of merit. And if you may remember, as I'm sure you do, that last year it was won with a truly magnificent goal scored by Martin Peters for West Ham against Leicester. This is the standard we set then.
Glover is racing in there. But straight through from Manley. And now Sissons racing for all he's worth to take this ball from Charles. Hurst is up there with him now, and so is Peters, steaming up. Hurst is really travelling. And Peters... Oh, magnificent! What a magnificent goal by Peters!
And as a result of that one, Martin Peters, in fact, is on our panel, along with Johnny Haynes and Jimmy Hill. They met this week to discuss the right order of merit for this final 6. Let's just join their discussions.
Remember Bobby Charlton, his view of a golden goal was really the speed it hit the back of the net. I mean, he thought that if there were 5 goalkeepers on the line, that was the phrase he used, and they couldn't stop it. That was a great goal. Do you share that view?
Well, I think he's right in respect, Jim, as far as the crowd are concerned. I think they love to see nothing more than the ball hitting the back of the net and the net going further back. But I'm a bit biased. I'm a midfield man, and I think there's a lot more goes into it than that. You've got to get the ball up there, and I think, you know, a goal, although Martin's here, a goal like Martin's where the ball's gone the length of the field and the other side haven't touched it and then finished up with a terrific shot, that to me is the perfect goal.
Yeah, Martin, I'm not going to embarrass you. Not going to embarrass you by talking about last year's goal particularly, although it was a marvellous goal. Yeah, what do you feel is a golden goal?
Talking about power, I like Roger Hoyes because it went in with power with the head. I thought
it was probably the most as powerful a header as you've ever seen, would you say?
More or less, yeah. Compared with Ozzy's goal, you know, that was more of although he got a lot of power, it was a deflection, I thought, although he'd done tremendous to get it in there.
But it was a bit of a messy wind-up to Roger Hoy's goal, would you say?
Well, the start off was a bit messy, but the end product was there, didn't it? Went in like a
what do you think about that?
I agree.
Would you devalue Ozzy's goal?
No, Roger Hoy's goal and Jimmy Grieve's goal, I think you couldn't call them really golden goals. They were finished well, but in the first place they were a bit fortunate. Both Crystal Palace and Jimmy Pearce for Tottenham, they mishit their first cross originally.
Yeah.
Jimmy Pearce was a corner, and Derby gave the ball away and then they scored, but I think originally they were a bit fortunate to get the rebound, the same as Crystal Palace was for Roger Hoy's goal.
What do you see as an outstanding quality in one of the other goals where it wasn't fortunate?
Well, Georgie Graham's goal, for instance, must have had about 4 passing movements between the Arsenal goal and finished up with a good 1-2 and with a terrific volley in the net. To me, that was a terrific goal.
Would you agree with that on
What
Georgie
passing
Graham?
movement can you say about Johnny Samuel's goal?
Well, there was no passing movement.
It was a good passing movement when it went past Alex Stepney.
He picked it up well from the back of the net.
Yeah.
What about that goal? How do you view a goal like that? Do you think that was a bit of a mistake by Alex Stepney, or was it
I would have
superb
thought,
power?
That Alec, there must have been, couldn't see because of the players in front of him, because he seemed to go late and the ball seemed to swerve. It seemed to be going out at one stage, and then it came in all of a sudden, and Alec was just going too late.
It was such a long way out.
Mind you,
wasn't it?
I've never seen anything like that before. Really ridiculous,
Reminded
really.
me of one of yours, Jim, to be quite honest.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Which one? I won't ask you
Oh,
which
there's so
one.
many.
There was only one. Let's look at the last one we haven't talked about, Endine's goal,
Watford goal, yeah.
which was an unfashionable side, still sort of battling away for relegation.
Yes, it was quite a good goal. It was fairly well worked with a good back header. And
in fact, those discussions went on for another couple of 3 hours after that. But finally, the panel came up with the order, which I shall give you now. What we'll do, we'll give you the 6th best goal first, leading through eventually to the golden goal of 1970. So the goal number 6, according to the panel, was the goal scored by Jimmy Greaves for Spurs against Derby County.
No, right back with him. That's what England wants. And he's not going to get it. Kinnear back to Pearce again. Low and half Greaves! Oh, what a goal by Greaves!
The 5th best goal was the one by Barry Endine for Watford against Leicester.
The crowd so solidly behind them. And Garvett going in, and Endine a goal! Oh, a beautiful goal! 2 goals in a minute!
The goal voted 4th best came from Peter Osgood for Chelsea against West Bromwich Albion.
Eddie McCready. Collins. To Cook. Taking on Cantello, attacking him as he ought to. And Osgood in! A great goal by Osgood! What a fine header by Osgood!
Now down to the final 3, the 3rd best goal, Roger Hoy of Crystal Palace against Chelsea.
Hudson. A really strong tackle there by Payne. Loughlin, Hine playing it off for Loughlin. And the ball falling nicely behind. And there's Hoy! Oh, a great goal! Roger Hoy!
The 2nd best goal in this final, John Samuels for Arsenal against Manchester United.
Aston, and now caught for Arsenal. Rice in now for Samuels. Still Samuels, and he's got a bang on him! Oh, magnificent goal! John Samuels! His first goal of the season!
But the golden goal of 1970 by George Graham for Arsenal against Crystal Palace.
Radford going in again. And again. And now George Graham. A little 1-2, a chance for Graham. Oh, a magnificent goal by Graham! What a superb goal by Graham!
So Arsenal 1st and 2nd, that obviously is going to please an awful lot of people up there in North London. The final order then, once more, just to remind you, is George Graham, the golden goal. Number 2, John Samuels. Number 3, Roger Hoy. Number 4, Peter Osgood. 5, Barry Endine. 6, Jimmy Greaves. We had something like 10,000 entries through the TV Times for this competition, and the first one out in the correct order, out of the hat, and a very big hat it was, Michael Graham, 65 Kelvin Brook, West Molesey, Surrey. He'll be our guest to see how ITV operates at the Cup Final next weekend, on our programme next Sunday, I hope, and at a party to meet our star guests afterwards. Well, that's all from the big match today. Hope very much that you've enjoyed it. Hope very much, too, that you'll join me at the Cup Final for ITV next Saturday. Chelsea against Leeds, and our production, and a very big production it is, will begin at 12 o'clock. We thought we ought to finish with the last performance by the 2 finalists. A goal from each of them.
Peters trying to spray it wide there towards Gilzine. But McCready, Birchinall well up, Osgood well there, Birchinall again. And so many Spurs players are back, but now Baldwin with a shot, and a goal by Tommy Baldwin!
Eddie Gray. Oh, good footwork by Gray, still going. Oh, what a lovely goal, what a masterly goal by Eddie Gray.